If the United States were a public company, what would it be worth, and who would want to buy its shares? Those are two questions posed by securities analyst Mary Meeker, the one-time queen of the net. She says USA Incorporated has a net worth of, get this, negative $44 trillion. She says, though, that we can start closing that massive hole and tackle America's huge economic challenges by changing the way we think. It's the topic of this week's Bloomberg Businessweek cover story. Mary worked with economics editor Peter Coy on this story, and he's here with us now. Peter, let's begin by talking about some of these enormous challenges. We all know that the American economy faces challenges, but nobody, to my knowledge, has actually looked at it the way that Mary Meeker did.
I think it's really a creative approach. As you said, it's not brand new that we have a problem here, but she comes at it from the perspective of somebody who worked on Wall Street, Morgan Stanley for many, many years, and she's now at Kleiner Perkins, a venture capital firm. So she says, you know, if this were a company, what would I be thinking about it? You know, I'd probably want to bring in a turnaround expert. I'd be wanting to look at costs, what's sustainable, what can we do on the revenue side, and efficiencies, all these things which occur naturally to you if you're looking at a company's balance sheet. Why not look at the USA Inc. the same way?
The numbers that she cites are pretty extraordinary, aren't they? On a per capita basis, this negative net worth, it would be $143,000 per person.
That's your share.
That's right. That's my share, your share, $143,000. And she also cites some CBO numbers that say, the Congressional Budget Office, that say 14 years from now, spending on interest payments will equal all of federal revenue.
Well, if you interest plus entitlements. So
okay, entitlements.
Medicare, Social Security,
which she says are the two
killers,
most intractable problems that we've got.
Right. So going with that idea, the CBO, and this is not her numbers, but as you say, this is the government. Imagine if we got to that point on the current trajectory, we kept paying interest, which is probably a good idea, and we kept on with all these entitlements. There would be no money, and the revenue didn't increase. No money left over for anything else. That means no Army, Navy, Marines, Post Office, anything.
But the thing that really struck me is she says these problems are fixable, that America's position, and this is really striking, and it's worth reading the story for this alone, that America's situation, USA Inc.'s position, is actually better than Apple's was back in 1997. The big question is Barack Obama Steve Jobs? And if he isn't Steve Jobs, who is?
Well, yeah. The difference, I mean, look at the situation Apple was in. Just take you back. The company, according to Steve Jobs, who just came back as CEO that year, was 90 days from bankruptcy. It had just finished losing $1 billion. So what did Steve Jobs do? Emergency action. He managed to get Microsoft to invest $150 million in non-voting shares, critical injection of capital. He also, as part of that deal, accepted that they were going to use Windows as for an operating system. And the company began a slow turnaround. It's now the second most valuable company in the world. So, no, I don't think Barack Obama is Steve Jobs, to answer your question. But
maybe we've already sold those non-voting shares to the Chinese.
And Steve Jobs didn't have to worry about Congress, you know, going against everything he said. So there are a lot of differences.
Peter, with about 45 seconds to go, I want you to tell us what it was like to work with Mary Meeker. I mean, consider the reputation she had as the so-called queen of the net.
You know, Mary Meeker has a lot of fans and a lot of critics. What I found about her is that we didn't talk about her picks on stocks over the years. That was not the purpose of the story. We talked about USA Inc. She said, I don't want to be the center of the story, which is the only reason she's not sitting here today and that I am. She's very easy to work with. I kind of ghost wrote something. We went over it line by line. She was very easy with it. And it was just a pleasurable experience.
Well, it's great subject matter, and I urge everybody to pick up a copy of this week's Bloomberg Businessweek to see Mary's analysis and your help in getting it on the page.
Thank you very much.
Peter, thanks so much.